Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Gibson Show. And we are back talking to one of my favorite NA PUBG pros. It's Kickstart. Kick, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good day so far. I didn't get to go to the gym today, but other than that, it's been pretty good.
Some days you can cheat, though. Some days you don't have to go. I exercised today and pulled my hamstring, so sometimes it's not the best idea to do it. But Kickstart, I suppose we'll get straight into the action. Obviously, you're part of the ex United roster that's currently LFO, and I want to go back. I want to start at the very start, because this is what I like to do, is kind of track a player's career. It feels like you've been part of PUBG from basically since day one, and you started off joining the wildcard roster when you first kind of stepped in. When you were moving into comp, at what point did you kind of feel like you were able to play at that level, or was it more of a case of people saw you playing, were like, hey, you know, you should give playing comp a go?
Well, I actually started like way before wildcard. I just played literally as soon as the game came out. There was tournaments called PUBG Online at the very beginning, and I played in those. I was on a team called White Temp Fate at the beginning with like 17 some guys that you won't remember the name of, but eventually we made the roster changes of adding Ashik and Bahawaka onto our team with me and 17, and then we ended up we got an offer from Optic, and that was like how that team started pretty much. So Hypoc took my spot because I wasn't 18 at the time, and then I went to wildcard after, but I didn't really make the decision to go pro. It just kind of fell in my lap. Luckily, I just came home from school every day. I like hated school. I did good grades and stuff, but I just like didn't enjoy it. Didn't have a plan of what I was gonna do. I just loved playing games, and I guess I just got really good at PUBG very fast, and the tournaments were fun, so I just kept playing them. And then as soon as the Optic contract landed in our hands, and it was like a lot of money, you know, it took a convincing to like convince my mom that it wasn't a scam, and then I didn't get to sign it. So then I was like, all right, let's go from here. And eventually I got to the wildcard contract and started making money, so it was really cool. So I didn't really make a huge decision on whether I was like going to do it or not. It just kind of happened. I just kind of kept playing.
It's funny because Shrimsy said something similar with his parents too. It was like when he wanted to move into esports, they were like, no, you got to get a job, you can't do that. And then suddenly all this, you know, money comes in from PGIS, and they were like, okay, maybe gaming's not a bad place to be in. But at that level, obviously most people who are 17, 18, they've got no fear, you know, very confident, very assured in their own ability. And I think that's something that you've actually managed to keep as a player. You know, sometimes players ease off with their games to play style over time, but I think you've kept that assuredness in your own ability, which is something that's put you in good stead. But after you kind of left Wildcard, and that year at Wildcard was kind of mental, you know, there was rosters changing left, right, and center. You moved over to Zenith, and you started playing with Roth, Shinboy, and I think it was Punage at the time. How did you enjoy playing with those guys? Because obviously Roth's very motivated, and I think those guys at that time as well were really coming into their stride and the players that they could be.
Yeah, so that was after the whole Ghost Cadets thing and everything had happened already. Sorry for the dog. He's angry. I'm not playing with him.
It's okay.
Yeah, that was after the Ghost stuff, and we made the decision between me and Roth and the owner of Zenith to remove Mystery and Leda at the time, and then we got Punage and Shin. So that was a really hard decision because I was super close with Mike, which is Mystery, and it sucked. Definitely shed some tears for that one, but in the long run, I mean, it was the correct business decision. So you know, it worked out. Playing with them, it was very chaotic. Obviously, Roth is super loud. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows that by now. He's a bit of a screamer, which isn't always bad. But Shin at the time was like not even developed. That man was just like a mute. And Poon's just Poon. I mean, he's pretty talkative. We were pretty close friends at the time. It was pretty much like Roth was the dad, and like Shin was the mute, and me and Poon just talked like every now and then in between.
Yeah.
It was fun though. I mean, it was fun while it lasted. and we performed insanely well and outperformed anyone's expectations. So it was definitely a fun roster that I played on.
I think, yeah, one of the scary things, though, is making roster changes and making moves, because you kind of do have to remove the personal element from it. It is a business decision. Orgs do it all the time, and it can be difficult, especially when you have built these personal relationships. But then a move happened, and I think that was the start of the real Kickstart, and that's when you met Sneckers and Rello, I believe, whenever you moved over to Oath. And that was kind of the start of something special. The three of you, was it that honeymoon straight away, or did it take some getting used to the first couple times you played together?
I had played with Jake before, which was Snakers, on Cadets. So I played with him for like a year on Ghost Cadets. So it wasn't the first time I'd played with him, but it was the first time I played with Rello. I really liked him. I got pretty close to him at PGIS, like out of game stuff, like hanging out and stuff. So I mean, there wasn't really a honeymoon. I think our first tournament we actually almost didn't qualify that I played with them. It was like the ESL or something that like SDK ended up winning, but we like barely qualified for the event. Like I think I like went like crazy mode and like 1v9'd and got first place in the end game or something. And then we qualified after that. It was like crazy, but it was super stressful. And I was like, holy, like, did I make the wrong decision? Like, what am I doing? Like, we almost didn't qualify for an ESL. And then after that, we just started improving. And I think me and Rello work very, very well off of each other. His IGLing is like really good and has gotten a lot better. And I'm just like, I'm a very vocal person. And he listens to me and respects my decisions and stuff like that. So I think we just work very well together.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's kind of when success started rolling in for you guys towards the end of 2021, because we were at a stage where, the now Luminosity gaming roster, they had won one of the major events, and then Sonic started to do a lot. But then you guys had this 6-month spell, the start of 2022, going back to the last two events in 2021 at a domestic level, where you really started to show that you could dance with Sonics, you could put it up with the best in NA. At that point, do you guys think that you were the best team in NA? And did you feel like maybe you were a little bit unlucky at times?
Yeah, at the time, we definitely think we're the best. I mean, I think we still think we're the best. I think Sonics do get some zone favor from Pachinki Picado, and I think they abuse the bad players a lot, which I think is why they do bad at internationals, because you can't abuse bad players if there is no bad players, right? So I think we are like smarter and our decision making is better and stuff like that. But sometimes it doesn't matter in domestics because teams are so bad.
Yeah, and you guys get a lot of love from the Sonics fans, don't you?
Oh yeah, and I mean it's not really our fault. It's just whoever fights Sonics. If you win or lose, then you're the enemy. It's just how the fan base is pretty much evolved, I guess. Even at internationals, if you rat them, you camp their bridge, you're like a demon devil shot like Satan spawn. So everyone gets a taste of it at internationals the way we do all year. So it is what it is.
And then in the middle of all that success, Sonics obviously brought in their dynamic player from Australia. You did the same. You brought in Flood, and I think early stages, looking at I say early stages, you've played with him for a while now, but Flood's filled into that team pretty well. He's pulled off some really impressive moments in his time, and do you think at times maybe you even say he's a little bit underrated?
I think he's an insanely smart player, and he helps us be more aggressive, because I think our lack of aggression shows a lot, and before Flood definitely showed a lot more, because he is like the aggressive voice. I definitely think he's underrated. When he is like on point of shooting, like he pretty much hits just the same amount of shots as like any other top player. He like destroys people. His like tracking is insane. And he just has a super, super calm, aggressive voice of like decision making. So yeah, I think he helped us a lot round our team out.
Yeah. And then one of the things that I really like about who you guys play is everyone kind of said, you know, get the EU rat thing that comes out a lot, with, you know, was the name that was given last year a lot, but it was, you guys always seem to find good positions in the mid to late game, and there was the amount of times when it'll be, you know, the end of the game and you guys would command the only real playable compound in those final phases, and a lot of that has to go down to the decision making. And because of that, you're able to farm so many kills in the late game because of those good early decisions. That gameplay style, and I think with the way that we've gone back with, you know, we're outside of winner chicken dinner, we're back into the hybrid model that I think most people like. It kind of does prime you pretty well for international success as well, because decision making is one of the most important things in PUBG.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, in my opinion, our play style is very consistent. I think we're like one of the most consistent teams in the world, easily. And I think it's just like, it's way more important than, for example, obviously we keep talking about them, but the Sonics play style is just very aggressive in the early game. In an A, you know, they abuse a team that's like pretty bad early game. They get a good spot, they win the game because of it. But you know, that doesn't happen at internationals as easily because it's a little harder to be aggressive. It's scarier. People are better, stuff like that. But I think we're insanely good at like keeping 4 alive too. I think we're like probably one of the best teams in the world at keeping 4 alive. I don't know why. It just feels like easy and simple. I think that's really important, and that helps the consistency as well. Because if like you're 4 up in the end game and you're not completely zone fucked, then like you could win pretty much every game. You have a possibility. So I think that's a big play into it too. It's just our play style is just all about consistency, and I think that's what matters over the years, instead of like blind aggression or hey, let's play for kills or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why you guys have dominated the domestic level along with Sonics for a while. But let's talk about the international stage then. So end of last year, we obviously got back to having a PGC online, traveling to Dubai. First off, what was the mood in the camp going into that? Because you guys were getting to fly halfways across the world, almost the full way across the world for you guys in America. How was it, you know, in the build up, the weeks coming up to that event?
It was a bit surreal because like we were traveling for so long, and it's so long. Like the flights are just so long. Like the longest flight before that was to Thailand, and I had just gone, and it was like 12 hours, and now we're going like 16 hours. It's crazy. We didn't prepare as much as I wanted to, and much as the rest of the team wanted to. There's just some bad scheduling and stuff that happened, so it was a little shaky. But as soon as we started playing, the nerves kind of went away, and it was just we just started dominating and just got back into the groove, and we played really well at the beginning, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then going into the final day, you guys were in the running to win the whole thing. There was about 5 or 6 teams, I think, that really had a big chance. Are there any regrets that you have on what happened on that final day? Because I'm sure you were elated to come second, but it's going to be heartbreaking too, knowing you were, you know, in reality, you were this close to winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up coming 4, so like it sucks, but there's definitely regrets, but I don't ever think about it because like to be a competitive player at a top level, you can't harp on mistakes that you've made in the past. Like you can try to improve on them, but if you just constantly let those like decisions like haunt you, you're just never going to be a good player. So I don't even remember the games. Like if I looked at a VOD and like looked at it like Twire and stuff, I would remember them instantly, but I couldn't tell you what happened the last day. The last game, I remember we were just trolling. Like we were literally just driving around. We were like, all right, let's kill Team Liquid. We can't even like get top 3 because we trolled so hard the games before. We killed Liquid, or not Liquid. Fuck, what is their name? OP? What was their name? Overpeakers? Something like that. Yeah, so we were like, let's kill this team so that we get 4th secured and no one else can pass us. So we drove into them like idiots when we found them, and we killed them, and then we just like we dived to Shack Center, and we were just all laughing like idiots in the middle. So we probably could have gotten a higher placement that game, but we just pushed a team like an idiot. So I mean, there's definitely regrets, but if you harp on decisions that you made incorrectly, then you're just never going to move past it and become a better player. So you don't really think about it.
And then after that event, you got the bad news that you were dropped, and it's, or not dropped, but the roster was pulling out, and obviously we find out a couple of weeks later that they were pulling out due to financial issues inside of the org. Was a little bit hard to take because it seemed like that was 2 years in a row that two NA teams performed really well, and then the org just bailed shortly after.
I mean, yeah, it sucks, but it's kind of the game. So, I mean, it was just unfortunate what happened in United. It's just like some things fell in line that happened, and they didn't really want to, stay in anything. So they were just tired of esports pretty much, and had nothing to do with us. So that was a relief. Like, didn't have anything to do with our performance. They loved us. I mean, it sucks, but it also opens a door onto new things. Like, you just played very well like the whole year of NNA, and then you got fourth place at PGC. What orgs want us now? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, there's a new partnership program. Maybe some big orgs want to come in. Maybe some huge names want to come in. Like, hopefully. So it opens some new doors too. Obviously, it's sad, but it is what it is. You can't change it.
Yeah, and I think the good thing is it gives you the opportunity as a team now to kind of think about what you want from an org. You are in a very good position when you're negotiating. You are one of the top teams in the world. You've got proven domestic success over the last 12 years as well, which is always a good thing for orgs getting involved too. So, without giving anything away, are you getting much interest from orgs? Like, are you guys in talks with a couple of people now? Like, is it looking good for having an announcement before we get to the first event of the year?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely be signed before the first event, which I don't even know when that is. But probably in like 2-3 weeks, I would hope we would be signed. Hopefully. It's not anything to do with the org or me though, so it is what it is. But I mean, it's not been as fast or like as populated as I would have hoped, because PUBG is just PUBG. So I mean, we have like 2 or 3 orgs that are interested in us, so it's obviously not that bad, but I think it could have been better if PUBG it did a little bit different decisions, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, you guys have got all of Reddit talking. Every single night you guys scrim. They're like, oh, they're signed for Evil Geniuses. They're .eg. Oh, they've signed for this team. They've signed for that team. And I enjoyed it. I know that now you've got a more settled name. I think you're going to rock with Team 69 for for the coming few scrims, which I think, look, I love. It's a bit of fun. It's having fun with the community, which is all well and good. But looking at the calendar for this year, you're bound to be pretty excited because we're getting more international lands. There's more events, and you guys, based on your play over the last year, you'd be pretty much expecting to go to every single international event this year. So it's not just one. You've now got 3, and then you got PNC on top of it, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun if we get to qualify for every event. I'm like super realistic, so I don't ever want to be like overconfident. And I mean, there is possibilities that we don't qual. There's possibilities that Yahoo didn't qual for the last PCS. That could be a PGS this year. You never know. Things happen. It's PUBG. So I mean, it would be great to go all events. It's just a lot of traveling, a lot of exploring, a lot of experience. When you experience lands, it's completely different than like playing in an A. You get way better. It's like taking steroids and working out. Like, it's just like super fast, super efficient experience, and you just become a better player in like the blink of an eye. You leave an event and you're just all of a sudden a better player and you don't even know it. And people that stay home and they don't get to go to these events, they don't get that experience. So it's really good as a player, and it's also just really fun. You get to hang out with all your friends, you get to drink, you get to go out and party. Like, it's just a really cool experience, and it's super fun. So hopefully we get to go to all 3, and I would hope that I get to go to PNC again, but we'll see.
Do you think that could create a bigger divide between the top teams in NA and the mid-table and bottom, because you're playing more international events, you're playing in lobbies where every single little mistake that you make gets punished? Is that a worry that maybe you have for the scene as a whole, or do you think that by the top teams in NA getting better, it forces everyone else to improve as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's already a massive gap. I think like there's a gap between everyone else and us and Sonics, and then I think there's even a bigger gap between like Yahoo, LG, and then everybody else under that is like there's a huge gap. I don't know. I think our NA scene is kind of like really bad right now. Like it's like dead. It's worrisome because like the scrim factor, like scrims are really bad right now. So I don't know. Hopefully they get better, and there's definitely a huge gap. It's definitely a worry, but there's no way for us to fix it. So I can't really,
Yeah.
fix it myself or think about it. So I try not to worry about it as much as I can.
Yeah, well, I think as a fan myself, I'm excited for 2023. These international events, you want to see the best players going head to head more often. You as a player, you want to challenge yourself against the best in the world more often as well. So let's talk about players. And when I spoke to Kurt and when I spoke to Shrimsy, one of the things we spoke about was what it's like playing domestically and which players you kind of love getting into gunfights and which player you hate getting into gunfights with. Now, Kurt said that you were his favorite player to get into gunfights with because he always managed to get you with nades from close range. Is the feeling mutual, or is Kurt that player that you're like, it's him again? It's Kurt, he's up close, he's got nades in the back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's just, I mean, we're pretty cool with LG, so like, and especially like me, like I'm pretty cool with them, so it's always like a DM sent,
Yeah.
Oh wow, nice one, bro. That was a good nade you had there. That was a crazy play. Thanks for that, Purdy. It's just like all jokes and stuff. The most person I would like killing, probably. I'm probably gonna have to wait because he's gonna keep barking.
Yeah.
So.
Well, look, I guess look, we love the dog. What's the doggo's name?
His name's Milo.
Milo, class. Star of the show, though, to be honest.
Yeah. He probably sees somebody outside.
Yeah. So we're kind of coming to the end anyway. So who do you think would be your favorite player to get in a gunfight with?
Probably anyone from Yahoo, because I don't know. There's no words for what they do, and I think it just makes me feel the best when I kill them. It's just like I just start laughing. It's awesome for me personally. So I guess any of them really.
And then the other side of the coin, who do you not like getting into gunfights with based on the way they play or how they move? Like, is there any players that you just don't like getting involved with?
In the same exact way as I just said, Yahoo, because they are so goddamn stupid and unpredictable. It's just, there's a guy in my compound that was here the whole time, and they're just inside of it, or I got knocked 800 meters away, and now there's 4 people driving at me from 800 meters away to seat swap me and flush me. So it goes both ways, right? Like, you don't want to get in a gunfight with them. You don't want to be around them on the map. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. And when you do kill them, it feels really nice because it's like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Nice seat swap, bro. So it's like the same way.
And you know them. There's always that factor too. So moving away from PUBG for the last kind of question of the night. Obviously, PUBG takes up a lot of time. If you're playing in scrims every night of the week, that's 5, possibly 4 to 5 hours. A lot of guys like to stream and stuff too. What do you do off the server outside of PUBG to kind of keep yourself grounded and just have a bit of fun?
I don't know. The last, pretty much since I've been back from Dubai, I've been like hard grinding. Started like hard grinding gym, like weight loss, stuff like that, and just stream. I've been streaming like so much, and I've like definitely seen the progress in both aspects of working out and like stream. So really, I don't really have any off time. I just like the last month and a half, 2 months, it doesn't exist. I go to the gym, I make food, I either stream or scrim, and then I do that pretty much till I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's just every single day. So it's just grind mode for me right now personally. So I don't do anything else. Maybe sit in Discord after stream or scrim and hang out with my friends maybe for 2-3 hours before I go to sleep. But other than that, that's literally it.
Yeah. Well, look, it's always about getting better because you guys want to prove again this year that you are the best in NA. Well, Kickstart, I know that we're getting close to scrim time, so I know you want to go and kind of prepare, but it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Hopefully you get the org that you want, and If you haven't already, guys at home, make sure to give Kick a follow. It's always good to get those socials followed, to keep an eye on what Kick's getting up to. Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
No, thanks for having me. Thanks to all the fans, and especially the new fans that have been coming around the stream. I appreciate all the support, and hopefully we never, disappoint you guys. So appreciate it.
No problem. Well, look, thank you, Kick, and thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you again soon.